Hey guys, welcome to another video with me, Mohammed, and this is my lifestyle. So today I want to talk about change. So recently I've learned that change is inevitable. I know many of you might have learned that also that change is the only constant that we have in our life. Our lives are constantly changing, whether it be financially, emotionally, socially, getting married, having children. Life is always changing. And I bet some of you right now watching this video want to make a change that will better your life, that will improve your lifestyle. How many of you would want to earn more money? You want to have more time to spend with your loved ones? I know I would. So this is why I'm going to go through a simple 5-step process in which you can achieve the change that you want in your life. Because for me, I've been frustrated for far too long, trying to make this change happen. And I've come to a realization that change is not going to happen all at once. You're going to have to chip away at it slowly every day, work on that change, otherwise you're never going to achieve it. So starting off, step 1 is awareness. So firstly, you have to become aware of the change that you want to make in your life. What is that change and why do you want to make that change? I think that's the fundamental question that we all avoid, or if we don't avoid it, then we don't know about it. It's something that's important to know as to why you want to make the change. And this, to give you my story on awareness, every weekend, I always had my boys over. We should have some clean fun, playing cards, talking, joking, laughing, whatever the case is. And I thought this would change once I got married. But surprisingly, it stayed exactly the same. Every weekend, same friends would come, we'd have a good time. We'd stay up till like 2-3 in the morning every weekend for the same thing. And it got to a point where my wife was getting a bit frustrated as to why we're still carrying on the way we're carrying on. We're married now, and I think things really changed when my first child was born. My son was born, and it just happened all of a sudden overnight. And for me, it was a bit of a shock because I was used to having my friends over and having them here, having a good time with them. And then as soon as my son was born, like for the next 6 months, I never saw them. And I took it a bit hard because I thought that I'd done something to them, that they didn't want to come see me. But I didn't realize, which I realize now, that they were giving me time to adjust to becoming a father, to adjust to parenthood. They're giving me my time and space in order for me to be there for my new family. So it was something that I had to adjust to. There's this change that I had to adapt and be aware of. So this first step is awareness and being aware of the change that you want to make. The second step is desire. Desire comes from, it comes internally. You have to want it. You have to want it so badly that nothing else matters. Nothing else will distract you from what you actually want. Your desire needs to be strong. And I know your motivation behind it also needs to be strong. Many people who watch this video will say that they don't have the motivation to carry out their change. That is mainly because either their desire wasn't strong enough or the reasons were stronger than their desires. But I'm going to talk about desire, and there was a story that I wanted to share on desire of my father. Because the thing is with desire, you have to want it and you can't be forced upon you. Because once something is forced upon you, a change is forced upon you, yes, you might change initially, but you will go back. Eventually you'll go back to what you were before. So the story I wanted to share about my father was that I was thinking about this earlier today. About 10 years ago, my father stopped smoking, and he'd been smoking for most of his life, for 30 years of his life before he stopped. And he stopped smoking mainly because he had health issues and because of pressure from my mother and our family that he should stop. So he did stop. He took medication and he did the patch and all of these things, and he eventually did stop. And what I didn't realize until I was thinking about it today was that he stopped when he stopped working. And he stopped working about 10 years ago as well, and it lasted for a long time that he didn't smoke at all, and it came up until about 3 years ago, where my uncle asked my father to come and work with him in the butcher, and we noticed slowly like he started smoking again, and I could see he was trying to hide it. It wasn't out in open as yet because it was something new. He just started smoking all of a sudden, and for me, I didn't want to confront him about it because I didn't want him to feel ashamed, and I think I was protecting him in that way. But the thing was that he didn't want to stop smoking. He stopped smoking because he was pressured into it. And in order for you to make the change, to really make the change, it needs to come from you. You really need to want it. You really need to want to make that change. So for him, he didn't really want to stop smoking. And I found that link between him working and him smoking. That once he stopped smoking, once he stopped working, he stopped smoking. But once he started working again, it just probably like a habit, it came back to him, that it linked, that he's working now, so he started smoking again. But like I said, desire comes from within. It comes from you. So on to the next step. Step 3 is knowledge. So knowledge, this is the step where a lot of us get stuck at. We get to step 3, knowledge, and that's it, game over for us. Myself included, I mean, I was stuck there, and I am still stuck there up to today. I mean, I'm pushing past it, I'm trying to get past it, but it's a big barrier. And I'll get to what the barrier is later on, but the thing is that knowledge, step 3, knowledge, is getting information, doing your research, doing your studies on how you want to change, and how you should change, and how you're going to achieve that change. So it's all good and fair to say that you're gathering this knowledge, but there's different paths in which you can achieve knowledge. And the example that I wanted to give on step 3 was that if you take, for example, getting your driver's license, you can read the book on the rules of the road, the rules of the street signs and so on, but you won't get that knowledge. You won't get the knowledge that you get from your driving instructor. The knowledge that the book gives you, you will not get the same knowledge from your driving instructor. And the reason because the two knowledge sources are completely different. One is a formal education where you're reading a book, and the other is life experience where this person, this instructor, has taught hundreds of students on how to drive, and he has knowledge that the book won't teach you. He knows the rules, he knows how to apply them, when to apply them, the certain situations that you need to apply certain rules, and the exceptions of the rules as well. And what should you do in case of certain situations, like for example in a carjacking, what should you do? That there a book won't teach you, but a person that has lived that experience and has taught people on that will be able to teach you. So getting down that path of mentors, of coach, life coach, it's important to acknowledge that there's a source out there that we might not be considering when it comes to researching and gathering knowledge and information. That people are a resource. People's experiences are a resource, and we should utilize it as much as we can, to take advantage of it as much as we can. And speaking about mentors, I've had a mentor for about a year. His name was Steve. I know some of you might know him. And he was a guy that was very straightforward, very blunt. And some people might take it as him coming across very harsh. But for me, it's something that I needed to hear, because whenever I interacted with him, whenever I spoke to him, I felt like I failed in whatever I needed to do. But he put it in such a way that I didn't fail. I just needed to take the next step in what I needed to do. And I found it very comforting and reassuring in his words that whatever he was saying to me was motivating and inspiring me to do the next thing. And this is what a mentor and a life coach can do for you. It's not someone to tell you what to do, it's someone to guide you on the best path on how you want to get to wherever you want to go. So I'm a part of a community that supports each other in our endeavors like I'm doing right now. And if you ever want to be a part of a community that supports you, because I have never come across a community like this where they support you as much as anything. Like whenever you're on internet, social media, wherever it is, you don't find support as much. I mean, you might find it, but I mean, this community, everyone is there, willing to help you, willing to support you, and that's something that I found that's irreplaceable. You can't get that, because it's very hard to find these days. It's not like there's hundreds of us something. There's thousands of us in that community, and there's people that you can reach out to all over the world. This community is a global community, and if you're interested in getting involved in this community, I've left a link in the description below where you can check it out, but I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. So getting on to the next step, step 4, I'll say this is the crux of the process, and where most of us, where the change breaks down. Step 4 is action. We need to take that action. If we're not doing anything about it, I think that's where we're failing ourselves. But that's where I failed myself. I failed myself for over a year for not doing anything. And now I've decided I need to take action. I watched, some time back I was watching a video on Les Brown, and he mentions that there's a famous saying that says, if you're going to do something, do it properly. But he says, if you're going to do something, do it badly until you get it right. And that changed my mind, because that's the first time I heard it, and I was thinking to myself, that's actually true. Because how do people get to become professionals? They have to start somewhere. I mean, if you look at all the famous people today, or all the successful people today, I should say, everyone started somewhere. And that could be you as well. You need to start small and dream big. The action is going to take you from that starting small to your dreaming big. That's the only thing that's going to take you there, is the action. And me doing this video right now is me taking action. It's me getting out there, trying to help as many people that I can. That's me trying to take action. And I want to just give you another example. There was another member from the community that I'm talking about. This community, it's called, I think now it's called Mentors. So this guy JJ, I know he's very well known in the community, and once you join the community, you will also meet him. And he mentions that his son wants to play basketball. He told us the story on the first few days that I met him. His son wanted to play basketball, and he read most of the books on basketball, of how to throw a basketball, how to pass it, how to dribble, and so on. And finally got outside to attempt to play basketball. And I think he stood on the 3-point line, and he took a shot, and he missed the basket. Now, if we just pause there for a moment, how many of you just imagine watching this scenario play out there? That if you saw a kid just standing outside in his yard, in his driveway, and he threw the basketball for the first time, and it didn't go into the basket, and he just walked away. He like his head was down. He walked away inside the house. How many of you would think, if you knew that this is the first time he threw the basketball, how many would you think that he's mad, or that he's insane, that he failed on the first attempt, that he's going to give up? You would tell him, just try again, wouldn't you? I mean, that's the obvious choice. That's the obvious thing to say. Just pick it up and throw it again. But that's something that we don't apply to our everyday lives, and don't apply to the things that we want to do. We fail hundreds of times. I have failed countless of times in my life, and I know some of the things that I failed that I haven't continued, and that's something that I need to change. That's something that I'm aiming and looking to change. But if we fail to miss that, or to make that basket, we shouldn't give up. The next thing that we should do is the next attempt, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth attempt, until we make that basket, and carry on making it in the basket until we don't miss. That's what we should aim for. So that is action. But that's leading on to now to step 5. And step 5 is perseverance. So perseverance is that we need to push through our failures. We need to push through and get to where we want to go, because we're going to fail 90 to 100% of the time. If that's the case, But if you're not going to improve yourself, if you're not going to make the effort and make the attempt and push through those failures, you're never going to reach your goals. You're never going to get the thing that you want to get in life. I mean, if you really wanted to spend time with your family, I'm sure there is some way that you'll make time for your family. If you really wanted to make that money for your family or make the money for yourself, I'm sure after failing on your first venture or your first project that you're going to keep going at it. Most of the successful people have failed in their lives. They have failed more times than you can count. But they don't look at it as failure. They look at it as a process. And that's what we need to look at it as. Failure is not we don't know what we're doing or it is not working out for us. It's a process in order to get there. And I tell myself this all the time. You need to keep reminding yourself. You need to talk to yourself that yes, okay, I've failed. The outcome is not important. The process is important because you put more emphasis and more focus on the process. Eventually, you're going to get the results that you want to get. You're going to get the outcome that you want to get. So guys, persevere. Push yourself and get to where you want to get. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to do it for you. And guys, I just want to end the video by saying thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. I hope this 5-step process helps you in making a change in your life that you want to make. And like I mentioned, I left a link in the description. If you want to be a part of the community, the link is to a video series workshop and how you can change your life. And it's something that it's not something for everyone, I would say. It's for those people who are serious about changing their lives. Those people who really want to make that change, who are tired of living their life the way it is at the moment. I was tired, I was frustrated, I was fed up. I couldn't take it anymore. So I had to do something about it. And this is my message to you, is to do something about it. Don't just sit there and take it. I'll see you guys in the next video.